Let's put the focus on a startup called Postfold. Postfold is a contemporary clothing brand founded in 2015. One of the co-founders is, of course, someone whose father you see very often on the channel, CP Gurnani. His son Ashish is one of the co-founders of Postfold. Now, Postfold came about because the co-founders were unable to find quality clothes at affordable prices. What started with seed money of 5 lakh rupees has now seen a turnover of 1.6 crore rupees in FY18. Joining me on Startup Central, both the founders together in one frame, Ashish Gurnani as well as Aashray Thatai joining us right here. Gentlemen, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us here on Startup Central. Good to see both of you here. Ashish, I'll begin with you. You want to tell me a little bit about how this startup exactly started, what the idea is behind Postfold?
Of course. Good evening, Nayantara. So we started Postfold. There were two main problems that we saw and we felt. So both of us used to study in the US, and we worked in the US for a couple of years after graduating. The first problem when we moved back that we saw was that we couldn't find really good quality, simple, minimalistic clothes at a price that was affordable. So that was something that came about, why India is one of the largest exporters of and manufacturers of garments in the world, and yet there's no single brand that has actually become a global brand from here. So that was the first problem we saw. And second, we had just joined the workforce, and one problem that we usually face, and we talked to our friends and they also faced, was that they didn't have clothing that could take them from desk to dinner, a brand that could reflect their lifestyle into their clothing, so something that moved at the same pace as they did. So all of the design ideology is made with the functionality of moving from desk to dinner. The quality is top notch, and we make sure that we find supply chain efficiencies to get to the price that is affordable.
So desk to dinner, that seems to be the idea. I like the sound of that, and goes with Postfold, the name, right? The dress won't crash. You can go to work and after that go get some drinks or dinner, etc. So, if I could now ask you guys, and you both of you figure it out, whichever wants to take this. You design your own clothes, you source it. How does it work?
So everything from designing to sourcing, everything is in-house. The only thing that we don't do is manufacture it in-house. From sourcing of the fabrics, from sourcing of the threads, to sourcing of the buttons, we do it all in-house. That's what helps us keep the cost down and eliminate as many middlemen as we can. And then what we do is we don't take on the overhead of manufacturing on our heads, and we outsource the manufacturing to our partner factories, which we audit personally to make sure that we're working with ethical factories and the factories that are treating their labor ethically as well. So we have our own auditing process to work with factories.
Aashray, let me come to you. Are you guys wearing something that is Postfold?
Hello, Nayantara. Yes, good evening. In fact, the blazer I am wearing is Postfold. It is from our very recent collection that came out.
Okay. Do you want to tell me a little bit, Aashray, what your big top sellers are?
So, Nayantara, that's a very good question. In fact, our best top sellers for men is Supima, which is a fine fabric that we import from the US. It's a luxurious and durable fabric and very lustrous. So we use this for men polos, and we've leveraged it now to even men's shirts and men crew necks. For women, our dresses, jumpsuits and bottoms. So these are some of the top sellers that you can see on our store as well as our website.
So cotton is one of the finest quality cottons in the world.
Tell me something.
It's 3 times more softer than regular cotton, and more durable, and it retains color a lot better. So that is one of our top sellers and one of our flagship products that we do. And we've also recently launched a couple of styles with plastic bottles recycled into yarn, and we've launched these styles that have been doing really, really well for us.
Okay, so now you told us what's hot when it comes to Postfold. Now I'm going to ask you a question that I'm sure your investors ask you. Ashish, I'll ask you, and then I expect your co-founder to come in as well. How competitive are you to your competitors? If you're going to get millennials, you've got to give them fast-moving fashion. I'm guessing it has to be sustainable as well, and it shouldn't cost a pretty penny. Ashish, I was asking you this question. I'm asking you what a lot of your investors would ask you. If you're going after the millennials, it's going to have to look good, be fashionable, sustainable, and it shouldn't cost a pretty penny. How does Postfold make money? I think Ashish is having a slight problem. So Aashray, I'll come to you. What I was asking Ashish was, Postfold, I'm sure a lot of your investors ask you this question. You're going after millennials. It has to look good. It has to be fashionable. It has to be sustainable. And it shouldn't cost a pretty penny. How do you guys make money?
See, as Ashish mentioned earlier, Nayantara, one of the things that we have done is eliminated the middlemen from all forms of our value chain. So we source our raw material as well as our technology pretty much hands-on, and we leverage on the fact that we are associated with one of the biggest manufacturers outside of India, which are into garment exports. So that's how our bottom line is pretty much makes sense, and we have seen that our P&L, as any accountant would look at, definitely is very realistic.
So how big are you now, Aashray? Who is your competitor, and how competitive are you in terms of pricing?
So we are a team of 25 people, and our competitors include pretty much fashion players which are inside of the domestic space in India, and our price range, I would say, is very competitive. We range from $12.99 all up to $35.99.
Okay, that's very, very competitive. And Ashish, if you can hear me now, does that mean you have good margins?
We do actually. We have good margins. What we've done is we've stayed online for most of our since we started. We've tried to stay online, and we've kept our fixed costs very, very low. We've tried to optimize in costs wherever we can, because ultimately what is important for us is not to transfer these costs onto our customers. It is extremely important as a DNA to keep prices low that are affordable to millennials who have just started their job, looking for something comfortable, looking for something really that looks good, and yet they don't have to compromise on quality. So that is our main value. That is why we started the company at the first place. So wherever we can save costs, wherever we can optimize on our fixed costs, we try and do that without compromising on the fabrics that we use or the raw materials that we use.
Okay, so Aashray, with all of this, clearly, you don't have any wrinkles.
Margins are very, very competitive.
Okay, your margins are competitive. You're going after the millennials. You have no wrinkles when it comes to your clothes, dressing, from desk to dinner. Do you have wrinkles in your balance sheet?
I mean, we're still a young company. We're learning a lot on, obviously there's no company in this world who hasn't made mistakes. We are also, we made a few mistakes, learned from them, and, it is a competitive space, but at the end of the day, it is a big market that we are in. So every player has their own way to carve out their niche. So as of now, we are sustainable. We are growing almost 20% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. The customers that buy from us are coming back to us, so that is very, very encouraging. So at the end of the day, if we spend a particular amount on acquiring a customer, that customer comes back to us, so the customer lifetime actually is very, very healthy for us. So in the future, it's only going to get better. We focused a lot on retaining our customers and making sure the customers come back for the product. And that is something that the quality of our products have been able to prove in itself.
And the biggest and top priority is to enhance our experience to the customers.
Okay, customer is king. I get it. But Aashray, if I can ask you a question, you're seeing this trend, and you're seeing this trend among millennials as well. Of course, they want to look good. They want fashionable clothes. But you are seeing a trend for slow fashion, right? Or do you think that's just made out to be and it hasn't really caught on in India? Where are you in this whole fast fashion versus slow fashion?
See, we are paced very rightly. We have an assortment which is ready with the latest trends. But our original design ideology is to provide something that is subtle, sophisticated, and stylish. So I think we cater to a particular niche, though we offer the latest trends and the best comfort, best quality.
To come back to your question about slow fashion, Nayantara, I would also like to say that we might what we want to do is in the next 10 years become a sustainable brand. A lot of our customers come back to us and ask us about our sustainability practices. To be honest, we are not 100% sustainable yet, but we are trying to get there. What we have done is last month only we've launched an initiative called Do Better, Be Better initiative, where we've partnered up with 3 non-profit organizations, and we focused on 3 initiatives that will ultimately take us to become a more sustainable and a more conscious brand, for the right word is a more conscious brand. So one of the initiatives is plastic recycling, in which I mentioned we're making t-shirts now out of recycled plastic. The other is ethical treatment of our employees and the labor that works behind the scenes. So their emotional well-being. We continuously have workshops that tell them about their own emotional well-being. And the third is reducing cloth wastage. So a lot of cloth that is cut is wasted at the end of the day, and I'm sure there's a lot of clothes in our own wardrobes that we have that ultimately get wasted. So what we are doing is we're collecting all of those clothes, all of that wastage, and donating it to one of the foundation that upcycles these clothes and provides them to the people who actually need them.
Okay, so upcycling, recycling, and that's Postfold for you, ladies and gentlemen, that do have a vision of becoming a sustainable fashion brand. I'll make this my final question. Ashish, I'll come to you with this one. Your dad does head Tech Mahindra. Do you have a thing for tech? Do you lean on him for advice on how you can marry tech and fashion? Where is that headed?
100%. He is my mentor, and since growing up I've always seen him. So he runs a tech company, so I've always seen it around me. I've grown around it, and he's one of my biggest mentors when it comes to customer experience, handling vendors, whatever it is. He's the first person I go to for advice, and in that way I'm very, very lucky to have a mentor at home, and open to giving advice anytime.
So let me play Narad Muni over here. Aashray, has it ever happened that you and Ashish have disagreed on something and then Ashish said, but my dad said this?
No, we both would, discuss the same, and definitely we look up to his advice because he's our mentor after all. So, we respect his decision, but we also do a lot of critical reasoning amongst ourselves and then, find out the most optimum solution to any discussion or anything that is ongoing.
I can't wait that. I was just trying to play Narad Muni over there and having fun at your expense. Guys, best of luck. Thanks a lot for joining us here at Startup Central. That's Postfold for you. The founders in one frame and a great vision over there. It's competitive fashion, AM to PM, desk to dinner. And they're going to upcycle, recycle, become a sustainable. And here's hoping that you guys do become a fashion powerhouse one day.